What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship. Today, at the request of Trigger99X, who I think has changed his name actually, since this request come down so long ago, the request line got really full of patrons. What can I say? And yes, in fact, it has, at the request of Nervous the Wayfinder. We're cracking open Inner Sea Gods one more time. Well, there will be several. There's a lot left. And we're talking about ABADAR. If you guys like what you see, remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And today, this episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship was brought to you in part by
360 Mac Gamer.
Or, you know, Lil Tarask over at Tale of Three Dragons, the rat folk who's had the worst time. But anywho, thank you for your support. Thank you for your friendship, my dude. I'm super looking forward to, I'm recording this on Friday, so it'll be day after by the time this comes out. So I guess let me rephrase that. It was super fun playing with you on Tuesday, and I enjoy it and the group we have. I'm hoping that past Tommy's not talking out his butt right now. Regardless, let's hit it. In ancient mythology, we don't necessarily see a lot of gods of the cities, the law, merchants, things like that. Not in and of itself. We might see like the upholder of the law gods, or Athena, the patron god of the city of Athens. In addition to being the messenger god, Hermes did oversee riches, trade, and good fortune. But none of these gods quite fit in the way ABADAR does. Imagine taking someone like Athena and Hermes, merging them together, and there you have the master of the first vault himself. As one of the most patient, calculating, and far-seeing deities, ABADAR wishes to bring civilization to the frontier, order to the wilds, and wealth to everyone who supports the rule of law. ABADAR's primary desire is to see the purifying spread of civilization, enlightening the dark corners of the world and revealing the clockwork perfection of the cosmos. He strikes a very careful balance between good and evil, seeing benefits on both sides and refusing to endorse one or the other. His followers believe he's responsible for elevating the various humanoid races from simple tribes to being capable of creating huge cities. He puts words of diplomacy in the mouths of leaders, guides the pens of those who write the laws, and steers coins into the hands of those who practice fair commerce. However, the god of cities is stern. He rewards those who work hard and whose actions benefit others, but he's morally ambiguous enough to recognize that not every person can benefit from every decision. He frowns on the misuse of slaves or beasts of burden, considering it a waste of resources, and, of course, detrimental to the profitability of civilization as a whole, but he doesn't go so far as to shun their use, though he would rather use cheap laborers, because the workers can use their funds to participate in commerce and rise above their low station through established economic channels. ABADAR, of course, understands that the world changes in small increments, and that the most advantageous option for society is not always the most workable in the present. He respects cautious thought and rejects impulsiveness, seeing it as a base and destructive whim, teaching that discipline, keen judgment, and following the law eventually lead to wealth, comfort, and happiness. He doesn't believe in handouts, and because of this, his temples sell potions and healing supplies or scrolls rather than giving them to those in need. Protesters are, of course, directed to the temple of Serenray. And if you want to learn more about the Dawnflower herself, follow this card right up here. Of course, ABADAR is the master and guardian of a place known as the First Vault, a magical trove in his realm where a perfect version of every type of creature and object exists. Alright, Plato. A perfect sword, a perfect deer, a perfect wheel, and even a perfect law. It's said that centuries ago, ABADAR allowed mortals to visit the First Vault in dreams, the better to inspire them. There's been no record of such coveted visions occurring in a long time, however, perhaps because he hasn't found someone worthy, #AdventureHook, or because he fears that his enemies might steal the perfect forms, or perhaps because he's carefully pacing civilization's advance to prevent them from growing too quickly and dissolving before they reach their peak. ABADAR himself, of course, is lawful neutral. His domains are earth, law, nobility, protection, and travel, with the subdomains aristocracy, defense, fortifications, inevitable, leadership, legislation, law, martyr, metal, portal, and trade. His favorite weapon is the light crossbow, and his symbol, a golden key. In order to perform ABADAR'S deific obedience, Take a handful of mixed gems, coins, and keys, including coins from 3 or more different currency systems, as well as at least 3 different keys, one of which should be the key to a lockbox, vault, or other such storage-y type thing. Kneel before a scale and balance the items as perfectly as you can, removing and replacing items in order to create the most equitable balance. Randomize the items you select each time you perform this obedience, so as not to let your obedience become routine. Meditate on the teachings from the Order of Numbers, the big ol' ABADAR'S Bible, and in return you get a +4 sacred or profane bonus on saving throws against spells and effects generated by creatures with a chaotic alignment. The type of bonus of course depends if you're good or evil, and if you're neutral you gotta choose, and once you choose it can't be changed. As per usual, that's not the worst ever, I suppose. If you're gonna fight a lot of demons, not bad. Wrath of the Righteous, looking pretty good. Evangelist boons grant us comprehend languages, 3 times a day, calm emotions, twice a day, or once a day, glibness. At 16th level, you never become lost in cities of more than 5,000 inhabitants. Upon entering a city, even for the first time, you can always retrace your steps and intuit where particular districts must be. Furthermore, you pick up local accents and vernacular instantly, giving you the cant, not of the thief, but of a citizen. You also gain a +4 sacred or profane bonus on disguise and knowledge local checks while in the bounds of the city. At 20th level, 3 times per day, you can snipe with a crossbow while hidden, and have little chance of revealing your location. You have to declare your use of this ability before you attack. You can use this ability only if your target is within 30 feet of you and unaware of your presence or precise location, so sneak attack. Once you roll your attack, immediately attempt a stealth check for sniping without the normal -20s, so yeah, there you go. Charisma-based rogues. Handing it to you on a silver platter. Perfectly balanced. That's actually pretty good. Not only do you get sweet mechanical bonuses, being able to pick up local accents and vernacular to give you the cant of a citizen, but also giving you a mechanical, sacred, or profane bonus on disguise checks probably means that some GMs will give you higher than a +4. That's really, really good in the right games. Damn. Anyway, Exalted boons. ABADAR'S truth-telling 3 times a day. Yeah, he's got his own spell. Look at him go. His mother must be so proud. A line weapon, lawful only twice a day, or magic circle against chaos once a day. At level 16, while within the bounds of a city of more than 5,000 inhabitants, I'm seeing a theme, you gain a +4 sacred or profane bonus on bluff and diplomacy checks. You also gain a special status with the law. You're considered a person to be respected and may obtain special treatment and assistance that ordinary citizens could not, such as information on political activity, criminal investigations, or threats against the city. Any bribes or fees that would normally be levied by the legal system are waived for you. City guards and officials with an initial starting attitude of unfriendly or hostile instead have an attitude of indifferent. These benefits apply only when you identify yourself as an Exalted of ABADAR. At 20th level, once a day is a full round action, you can pool and redistribute your current HP and those of all willing allies within 30 feet of you. Total all this up, and then decide how you wish to redistribute them amongst the same individuals. You can't give an ally more hit points than their maximum, nor can you leave someone with 0. What? That's really good. That's not something I expected from the god of trade and stuff to, hey, adventuring party, that dude's real hurt. We're not getting hurt because we're back here in Crossbow Town. You get our hit points, we'll go to half, you're back at full, hooray for you. Also, again, non-mechanical bonuses mean the GM is up to his own discretion as to what the bonus is, but it's definitely there in addition to that +4 sacred or profane on bluff or diplomacy. In intrigue games, in urban games, ABADAR'S looking really good. Now, Sentinel boons. It's Shields of Faith 3 times a day, Shield Other twice a day, or Archon's Aura once a day. At 16th level, once per day as a standard action, you can summon a Zealot Inevitable. You gain telepathic communication out to 100 feet. It follows your commands perfectly for a minute per hit dice. It doesn't obey any command that would violate lawful neutral, and if you're super terrible, it might attack you. Again, this is just something we can miss. Usually we've leveled past the necessity for these, and we're just kind of summon Monster X to have something to get attacked that isn't us. But at level 20, once per day, you can channel the effects of Dictum through your weapon, though you don't need to cast or even know the spell. You must declare your use of the ability, and on a hit, the target is affected as if it was caught in the area of Dictum cast by a cleric of a level equal to your hit dice. If the target is lawful or its hit dice exceeds yours, it's unaffected, and the effect is wasted if the attack misses or the creature is unaffected. Dictum is essentially the lawful version of something like Holy Word, Blasphemy, so chaotic dudes might get blinded, might get dead. It depends. This is probably the only really not so good of the boons, though. Evangelist looks real good for a rogue or a slayer or a ninja or anybody with sneak attack. Exalted's pretty good too. And now, of course, since Abadar is lawful neutral, and he does in fact support a holy order of paladins, he's got that official Paizo paladin code. It goes like so. I am a protector of the roadways and keep travelers from harm. No matter their destinations or goals, if they are peaceable and legitimate travelers who harm no others on the road, I will ensure they pass safely. Bandits are a plague. Under my will, they come to justice. If they will not come willingly before the law, where they can protest for justice in the courts, they will come under the power of my sword. Corruption in the courts is the greatest corruption of civilization. Without confidence in justice, citizens cannot believe in their countries, and civilization begins to disappear. I will root out corruption wherever I find it, and if a system is fundamentally flawed, I will work to aid citizens by reforming or replacing it. I am an aid to the markets. I ensure equitable trade between merchants and citizens. Theft and deceit on either side are intolerable. I make opportunities and teach others to recognize them. When I aid others, I open the way for them but will not carry them. They must take the responsibility. So that feels pretty good for lawful good that's into lawful neutral, into a god that's okay with evil sometimes. Yeah, I can get behind it. Now, of course, as of Planar Adventures, we have those divine gifts. Remember, these are GM fiat. If you, the GM, think your player deserves this, you can hand it out. Abadar lets the player cast Word of Recall as a caster level 20th spell-like ability. This version can transport the caster across planar boundaries, but it still doesn't function in areas that bar teleportation effects. When a character gains this gift, the GM designates as the spell's sanctuary a specific Temple of Abadar, located in a city of at least 1,000 inhabitants. Seems definitely right on flavor, and it's pretty good too. Everybody needs that emergency panic button, right? Abadar's gotcha. Now, I've never GM'd for an Abadaran character. To me, honestly, Abadar's always kind of felt like the antithesis of me, as someone who is very big into the, hashtag green faith that I'm shouting all across YouTube forever and ever. The proliferation of the city often happens at the expense of nature. So playing a character who worshipped Abadar has always been really far from my mind, with the strict exception of the current Pathfinder playtest meta, where a cleric or paladin can use simple weapons and increase their damage dice by 1. Abadar does benefit from that quite a bit with that crossbow. But again, really, it's just never been anything I've considered playing. But if I was the GM for it, to be honest, I think we're looking past the scope of an adventure. I think we're looking at the long term. I think we're looking at how a civilization progresses through the years, through the epics, through the ages. Not necessarily just like a high fantasy sword and sorcery thing, but at some point, that high fantasy sword and sorcery thing has to, get firearms on a widespread basis, learn how the combustion engine works on a widespread basis. I'm not necessarily saying go full Starfinder here, but that is, as a guy who does like playing Civ just too much, what Abadar is all about, moving from the Renaissance to the Industrial Age, etc. And if I'm GMing for Abadar'S, that's probably what we're doing. We're probably moving time a little faster. We're going to play around with a lot of advanced technology and stuff, at least for, again, like a high fantasy sword and sorcery kind of setting. And the Church of Abadar, of course, is at the forefront of that, making sure that it's used responsibly, making sure trade of it is equitable, and when it's not, that's when we step in, right? Imagine a despot who's got all the powerful weapons and refuses to share them, or is hoarding really powerful weapons of mass destruction. Yeah, no. Team Abadar World Police. Here we go. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching again, guys. And again, be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. We're going to do something a little different on the next episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship, because I've had a couple comments, both recently and in the long term, where people have asked me exactly what these obediences that I keep spouting on about mean and how we get them mechanically. I suppose I should have talked about that first. What can I say? I don't know how to make peanut butter sandwiches. So the next episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship is going to break down the deific obedience feat, the Exalted, Evangelist, and Sentinel prestige class, and teach you, yes, you on YouTube, how to use them for fun and profit. We'll see you next Wednesday.